just have talked about the topics that we are going to cover in this particular session. So that is all about the unit second, which is given in the syllabus. So the different topics which are related to HTML 5.0 we will cover in this particular session. So continuing to the presentation, first of all, we will be discussing the overview about HTML 5.0. So it's a major revision of the HTML standard overriding HTML 4.01, XHTML 1.0 and XHTML 1.1. So all these details you can also find on w3c.org. I have suggested you to visit to this website. So I hope some of you might have visited to the website and have read the contents. Then it's a standard. What is this HTML 5.0? It is a standard for structuring and presenting content on the World Wide Web. On the World Wide Web. And what is it? It is a cooperation between the World Wide Web Consortium, W3C, and Web Hypertext Application Technology Working Group, WHAT-WG. So it is cooperation between these two things, W3C and this WHAT-WG. These are the two standards and that we should refer onto their websites. Then this HTML 5.0 incorporates the new features like video playback, drag and drop, microdata, geolocation. So some new features are added in HTML 5.0. In this unit, we are going to practically learn that how you can make use of these features. Then the previous versions of HTML were dependent on third-party browser plugins for the audio video like Adobe Flash, Microsoft Silverlight, and Google Gears. But this HTML 5.0 doesn't have any dependency on this third party now. So that particular things are added implicitly in the HTML 5.0 itself. So no need to have those plugins present on our machine when we are viewing such a type of the audios or videos by using HTML 5.0. HTML 5.0 supports the latest versions of all browsers, as well as it also supports to the mobile web browsers which are pre-installed by using the latest Android operating systems. Then after considering this overview, we are going to learn about the new features which are added in HTML 5.0. So in HTML 5.0, some new features are added, such as some new semantic elements are added in HTML 5.0. And those semantic elements are such as header, footer, section, aside. So we'll start about this use of new semantic elements today. Next to that, in HTML 5.0, we can find a new attributes added to the input tag. Many new attributes are added to the input tag, and that forms the Forms 2.0 version of the web forms. Then it supports the persistent local storage, which is also very useful while loading the web pages. Then it also supports to WebSocket. So it supports the bidirectional communication technology for web applications. It also supports to server sent events. So due to the server sent events, there can be possibility of the flow from web server to the web browsers. So that server sent events are also supported by HTML 5.0. Then it supports the canvas, which is useful for two-dimensional drawings. So with the help of JavaScript, we can make use of this canvas. How to make use of canvas? Practically, we are going to learn. So this canvas supports two-dimensional drawing. Then it adds new features. With the help of that new features, you can easily add audio and video. We can easily add audio and video in our HTML web page. It supports again geolocation. So this geolocation feature will allow a user to share the physical location, and by making use of that physical location, the web application can make study about ourselves and then can suggest something. So for example, if suppose we are at very uh, cool place, means their temperature is low, so it will be guiding us accordingly. So geolocation is nowadays very useful feature which is get used by the smart applications. Then after that, microdata, which will allow us to create the own vocabularies, it's supported by HTML 5.0. Drag and drop facility is also supported by HTML 5.0 as the new features. So all these are the new features which are added in HTML 5.0. Next to that, we are going to move towards the direction that how do we can develop our own HTML 5.0 web pages. So for that, we should be able to understand HTML5 syntax. So HTML5 supports very much flexibility while coding the web pages. So what sort of the flexibility it supports? So it supports uppercase tag names, lowercase tag names, means it is case insensitive. Then quotes are optional for attributes. If we specify attributes values in double quotes, then it is okay. If we ignore the quotes, still it is okay. It will not give any error. It will rendering it correctly. Then attribute values are also optional in some cases, but for some cases, the attribute values are very much important, such as if we have anchor tag, a tag, and if we have the attribute href, it is required attribute, means we have to give value that to which page you need to connect or to which page you wish to link. But in some cases, if suppose some by default values are there which can be possible, so in those cases if we ignore specification of the attribute values, then still it will render the web pages correctly. So attribute values are optional. Closing empty elements are optional. So for this one should have first of all the knowledge that what do you mean by the empty elements, or they are also called as the void elements. So empty elements means what? In the pair of start and end tag, there is nothing that we need to specify. For example, say meta tag. In meta tag, in the start tag and in the end tag, in between those two tags, we do not specify any content. So that type of the element is called as empty tag. But if we say p tag, paragraph tag, it cannot be empty. In the paragraph tag we should put some text that we wish that it should appear on the web page, and therefore it is not empty tag. But meta tag, img tag, hr tag, these are the empty elements or these are the void elements. So if the tag is empty or the element is empty, there is no need to specify closing tag for that. It's optional. Though you specify, still it is okay. Though you do not specify, still it will render the web document correctly. Then the syntax, HTML5 syntax suggests that the first line of the HTML5 document should be DOC type. So it is declaration line, and this declaration line in the earlier versions of HTML was very long. In that you have to specify the complete path of the DTD file that you are going to refer for that HTML version. But in HTML5, this syntax has been made very simple, and it is just like this, that the angular bracket, exclamatory sign, DOC type followed by HTML. Just close the tag and then proceed to the next section. So this way, this particular line has been made very simpler. Then how do you can specify character encoding in HTML5? So you can specify character encoding in HTML5 by using meta tag. In meta tag, the important attribute we should use is char set, and this char set has the value UTF-8. So this char set is equal to UTF-8 that we need to specify. So that is what the char set encoding. Then continuing with the topic of HTML5 syntax, how do you can specify script tag in earlier versions? This first line is about the earlier versions. So script type is equal to text/JavaScript. src is equal to the name of the JavaScript file that you want to include. So this is what the syntax that earlier versions of HTML was requiring. But in this HTML5, it made simpler. You can ignore this type attribute. you can ignore this type attribute. So it will implicitly understood that as it is JavaScript file, the type should be text/JavaScript. No explicit specification of the type attribute is needed. You can ignore that type attribute. So this is script src is equal to script file.js and just simply close the script. Similar to that, in link tag, you can ignore this type is equal to text/css. So you can have just only the use of two attributes, rel attribute and href attribute. You can ignore this type attribute. Still it will work in HTML5. But if you will do it in the earlier versions of HTML, it will give you error. There is a compulsion for us to specify type attribute in earlier versions of HTML, in script tag as well as in link tag. That flexibility is added now in HTML 5.0. Then in HTML5, how do you make use of elements? To make use of elements, you have to specify the start tag, which is enclosed in this angular brackets, and then you specify here the content of the element and then close that particular element like this by putting the name of the element with a forward slash. So this is the specification of the element. This is what the way by which we can make use of the element. Then in HTML5, there are some void elements, means empty elements like br, hr, link and meta, as we earlier also have discussed in the previous slide. So you can specify those void elements in HTML5, just simply putting the start tag, no need to end them. But if you are ending, still it is okay. It is not giving you any error. Then how do you can specify attributes in HTML5? So attributes are specified inside start tag. You cannot specify attributes inside end tag. See, this is the start tag div, and in that, after leaving one space, we are writing the name of the attribute. For example, for div tag, we have an attribute class. So class is equal to, in double quotes, example. You may ignore double quotes. So class is equal to example, and then after that the content of div and close the div tag. So this way in HTML5 you can specify attributes. Okay. So these are the basic rules that we should follow while designing the web pages by using HTML5. Now we'll start with the next topic, in which we are going to understand the HTML5 document structure. So for better structuring, HTML5 supports semantic markup. So what tags are introduced so that it will be allowing us to specify better structuring? That is the semantic markup. So following tags have been introduced for that, such as section, article, aside, header, footer, nav, dialog, and figure. So what is use of this section tag? This section tag represents a generic or application section, section of a web page, section of a document that you can specify by using this particular tag. Now this section can be joined with the header elements, which are varying from H1 to H6. So you can have these header elements H1 to H6, and that will allow us to indicate the document structure in the section. So this is the first tag called as the section. Then next is article. So in the next tag article, or this particular tag article, we can represent using this tag an independent piece of content of a document, such as a blog entry or a newspaper article. So in a complete web page, if you want to specify some independent piece of content in the form of an article, you can add it, and that particular text you can enclose in the element article. So for that purpose, one can make use of article. Then next element that we can use it, aside. So what is use of this particular tag aside? So this aside tag represents a piece of content that is only slightly related to the rest of the page. Means sometimes what happens, the major content of a particular web page relates to one topic, but some related things that also you want to put on a web page. So that one will be not exactly related to that particular point, but it is slightly related to the contents of the page. And therefore, we can put that type of the piece of the content in the aside tag. Then for semantic markup, the HTML5 introduces the two tags such as header and footer. So this header tag represents header of a section, footer tag represents a footer for a section, and it can contain information about the author, copyright information at the footer side. So this way header and footer we can use. Then we have a nav. So what this nav? This is navigation. This is just simply used for navigation. So this tag represents a section of the document intended for navigation. See on a web page, mostly on the top or mostly in the left side of a page, we have a navigation bar. And what is the use of that navigation bar? If suppose you want to click or if you want to go to more details of a particular topic, you are going to click it, and on the right side that text appears. So like that navigation bar is used. We mostly make use of this navigation bar. So that type of the navigation related things you can put in the nav tag. So you can start the nav tag, and then after that in the content of nav you can put all that navigation related things and then close that nav tag. So this way one can make use of nav tag. Then another one is dialogue. So this dialogue element you can use to mark up a conversation. If suppose you want to specify some conversation which happens in between two persons or in between two entities, and that if you want to put uh, in the markup so that you can put it as like a dialogue. Then again, you can make use of the figure element, and this figure element can be used to associate a caption with some embedded content such as graphic or video. See, all these are the tags that you can use for better structuring. Means they are not exactly reflecting any design in the web page when we are using it to mark up some text, but these are for the logical purposes. For example, if suppose if you want to extract the copyright information from a particular web page, so how do you can extract that copyright information from a web page? In earlier versions of HTML5, there was no footer element. So you have to search that where is the word copyright in a complete web page, and then only you will be able to extract it. But now due to HTML5, it becomes very easy that what you can do, you can just search for a footer element. And you know that inside the footer element, generally we put the information about the author, about the copyright information. So you can logically search the things here. You can logically find out that what is included in the web page, what sort of the figures are there, what are the contents of navigation bar, is any dialogue present in the web page? If it is, just extract only the dialogue. What is the header of the section? What are the things which are slightly related, so that you can find from a side like this. So for the semantic markup, for the meaning purposes, the HTML5 have introduced the tags like section, article, aside, header, footer, nav, dialogue, and figure. So though it doesn't make any difference in our design, you should have habit to make use of these particular tags while designing the web pages. So do not ignore them. Try to use these particular elements when you are going to design your web pages, and that will be what the way by which you are really making use of HTML5. Otherwise, we are not making use of new features which are incorporated in HTML5. So you should use it. So this way, the tags we discussed. Next to that, we'll actually learn that how do we can create such a sample web page with the help of Notepad++, and we will see the output in the browser. So let me input one particular web page in a Notepad. So we'll be opening a Notepad++ over here, and we are going to type one sample web page code in that. So let us start it. So see here, I have opened a Notepad++, and in that I am typing the first line DOC type HTML. Then after of the web page is HTML, and then in HTML we have two sections, head section and then we have a body section. So see here, the body section I am going to type over here. So save this particular file, as I already also told you that you have to save it as a type .html or .htm. Save it in your folder, give some name. So in sample code we have put that particular file. Just indent properly the elements. In head section we are specifying the char set information that we can do by using meta element. So meta char set is equal to UTF-8. Then close the meta tag and specify the title information. So give some useful title. So example using HTML5 or new features of HTML5. Let us complete this title tag. And then after that in body, we are making use of now those semantic markups elements, such as first of all we have added header element, its start and end tag. Then we have a nav element, so start and end tag for nav. Then we have an article element, and in article just add one section, close the article element. Then we'll make use of aside element to put slightly related text over here in the web page. Then we'll add a footer, close footer. So this is just the empty template in the body section that we have created. Now let us add the text. In header section, let us put the header. So let me make use of the H1 element to put the header. So course structure for CA301 web designing. So complete that H1 tag here.
2 minus 7.
Then in nav, just put the navigation bar. So for navigation bar, we'll make use of detailed structure, detailed syllabus. And then here add one unordered list. So UL, with the help of UL element, you can add the unordered list. So li element will allow you to put the first item of the list, and in the list we will add a link. So use anchor element, specify href attribute. Href is equal to u1.html unit 1 details. So that will be the first item and the first link in the navigation bar. So like that we will copy for the 6 units. So just copy it, copy that particular lines in the UL. So for second unit, then for third unit, then for fourth unit, then for fifth unit. and then just change the name of the HTML pages. So to that particular units, it will link. So unit 1, then unit 2, unit 3, unit 4, and then unit 5. So this completes the list of the tags li. And then after that, close the UL, unordered list. Close the unordered list. Now in the article, we can put some other things such as what are the objectives and outcome of the course that we can put over there in that section of the article. Then in aside, suppose slightly related things such as that related to this course, what other activities we are going to perform during the course. So during the course, we will perform other activities, some other activities, and then close the paragraph tag. Okay. Now in footer, just put a line for specifying the author information. So this page is designed. This page is designed by the name of the author. Okay, just save it and then run that particular in the Firefox. Okay, so see here the output. You can find that this is the header, this is the navigation bar. Then here this is the article. This is the article that we have seen in the see here. So units and then objectives, outcome, and then here this is the footer information that we have put. Okay, so this way one can design the web page with the help of that semantic tags which are supported by HTML5. So thank you all for listening patiently. If you have any queries, you may ask.